Did you know that for this movie, the studio originally wanted Benedict Cumberbatch to voice the Grinch using his natural voice, but Cumberbatch felt that since the rest of the cast is American, the Grinch should have an American accent too. So I've been hearing thoughts on this version of the Grinch for a few years now. I never saw it when it came out in 2018. I have some good things to say about this movie, and I also have a few negative things to say about this movie, but I will save the negative things for the end of the review. So the first thing I liked about this movie was it was a very different feel and tone. It was honestly pretty lighthearted. I'm comparing it to the live action Grinch. The live action Grinch was very comedic. At times had some dark aspects to it, but for the most part it was very comedic. This movie had some funny moments, but not as many as I was expecting. There's a very different approach to Dr. Seuss's classic story. We got to see a lot more of Cindy Lou, but we also got to see a lot more of the Who's on Whoville, just their daily life, their inventions, just all the creativity behind what they do, and all these different ways they're celebrating Christmas. It was very fun to watch, honestly. Like, I have mixed feelings sometimes when you take a story that's a classic that everybody loves, that everybody knows, and you change it. I wouldn't say it was drastic changes, but it was enough changes for me that it really felt like it was a very different Grinch movie versus the original animated Grinch movie and the live action. This one stands apart on its own. The focus of this movie was on the Grinch, but I also felt like there was actually a lot more focus this time around on Cindy Lou and Cindy Lou's mother, and the Grinch was more of a character that helped Cindy Lou out. He did hate Christmas. Like, the Grinch still didn't like Christmas, but it was not to the level of hate that Jim Carrey's Grinch or the original animated Grinch had towards Christmas. He was just more of like, oh well, I'm not really a fan of Christmas. I'm just not going to interact with anybody and stay up here. And basically he's just a recluse. You know, he's mainly more known as just the grumpy guy who lives up the hill. The story was actually changed quite a bit too. I mean, we still get him stealing Christmas, but the whole change in the Grinch's heart, or whatever, it didn't come from Cindy Lou really coming up to find him and saving him, and you know, him saving Cindy Lou from falling off a cliff and all the presents. It really this time it came from Cindy Lou's advice, which was to close your eyes and listen to the music and let the music take away all your cares and all your troubles and all your worries. So it was more of the music's impact this time around, which was, I like that. I like that change. But Cindy Lou was more indirect this time with influencing the Grinch more than the direct approach, which is seen in the other Grinch movies. And also, we got a lot of additional characters this time around. You know, Cindy Lou was, as far as we know, she was just a solo going girl, but she had a bunch of friends in this movie. We get a lot of Cindy Lou in this movie, which is very interesting. That we get a lot of her friends, but also we get a couple extra characters in the movie as well, animal characters. So of course we get Max, because you can't have the Grinch without Max. But then we get Fred, this really fat reindeer, which I think he was a fun addition. Like, I liked another little animal being introduced into this movie, and actually the main reason why he was included in this movie was actually very heartfelt and very touching and a very nice addition to the overall Grinch storyline, and how music, people, and even animals can affect the Grinch in a certain way. Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job as the Grinch. I would say he wasn't as mean as Jim Carrey's Grinch was, but he had his subtle moments. I felt like he was very grumpy. He had a grumpiness to him, but he also was very sarcastic and just very passive-aggressive attitude towards everything. And I think that fit this Grinch very, very well. His background story was changed as well, but I liked it. I liked the change in his background story where he doesn't hate Christmas this time around because of people who were mean to him and he was made fun of and embarrassed and humiliated in front of people as a kid. He hated Christmas because he was alone and he didn't have any friends. He didn't have any family. We see a really sad scene of him in the orphanage imagining Christmas. So Christmas never meant anything to him. So when he saw people who had all that, it was the whole jealousy part, but it was also him kind of closing his heart off to feeling those terrible feelings he felt when he was a kid. So here are the things I didn't like. As much as I like the change to the Grinch, as you know, he wasn't as hardcore hater on Christmas, I actually would have preferred him to still stay that way. I honestly liked when the Grinch had that deep, deep hate for Christmas, because it spoke so much to who he was as a character, and his arc was actually a lot more impressive and more redeeming when he hated Christmas with a passion. And then how he wasn't feared by anybody. Like, people were just like, oh, you know, it's the Grinch, whatever. Like, the deep fear of the Grinch was like what drove the Who's and the mayor and everybody to like basically outlaw the Grinch from ever coming anything, even outlawing saying the word the Grinch, because they made up the definition of the Grinch as something you don't say around Christmas because it's such a bad thing. Just too much change to the Grinch. Also, this is strange as well, and I looked into it and I couldn't find really any answers to this, but Cindy did not have a father. I don't know where Lou was. I don't know. They didn't talk about him at all. He's never even mentioned, but it's just Cindy Lou, her two brothers, and her mom. But no mention of a husband or a father or anybody. But he was nowhere to be found in this movie. But I would recommend, like, if you are into Illuminations animation, if you like any Illuminations work, I would recommend check out The Grinch. It is a really fun family movie for your kids to see, for you to see, for your friends, family. You know, whoever you're gathering with this Christmas season. It's on Peacock. I don't know if it's on any other streaming services, but I would recommend check out The Grinch. It's just a really fun movie. So for The Grinch, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below. What is your favorite version of The Grinch? See you next time.